Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
So let's get it out of the way right now. It's March 26th. A guy that we know a little bit made March 26th a rare sports date that we will always remember, and we will remember where we were. And Darren McCarty will be a hero for days gone by. Good evening, Tom. And Darren McCarty, every time he comes over the house for a barbecue, inevitably somebody asks him about March 26th. And Darren, being the wonderful, wonderful human being he is, shout out Mr. McCarty, always answers the question. As Tom said, happy Turtle Day. We'll get right to it. Mike, I don't think I know the answer to this. I know that we weren't together that day. Where were you March 26, 1997?
I had a beer league game. And I was just getting off the ice, and I literally walked into my brother's house at the drop of the puck to witness it. So I ended up being at my brother's house to watch it with him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. I was at that old bar that is now a Coney Island. I don't even remember the name of it. In Livonia on Haggerty Road, between 6 and 5 Mile. It was on the golf course, and I don't even remember the name.
Oh, yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, the golf course is what's the name of the course in Caddyshack?
Oh, I should know that.
Yeah, we should all know that. Bushwood's not a dump.
Yes.
It was Bushwood. Wasn't that the name of that golf course?
Yeah. I think that was it, wasn't it? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I used to go there and play pool. They had a pool table at the bar.
That was, Mike, to be in a bar when that happened. It was one of those moments the entire bar stopped and everybody was just screaming and going crazy. It was surreal. And what people don't remember, okay, is the days of things like that happening had been over for quite some time. They really had been. We didn't have bench clearing brawls. They were banned in 1987. So we didn't have things like that. So a moment like that, it really was, Mike, it was a throwback. It was surreal. There's no other way to say it.
If you go to our reaction to the beginning of that Four Nations game, it was very similar to that. You don't see stuff like that anymore with 2 straight face-offs, fights, the third one, another fight. So you don't get a lot of that. I remember the pressure that I was having to get to my brother's house. You knew something was going to happen. You just knew it. The feel was there. And I've got to give an assist out here. As we were talking about the golf course, our good friend, Danny Walsh, Mr. Claspy, sent me a text saying, "Send it Coney Island, Bushwood."
That was right?
Yeah, it was Bushwood, a dump. So he got it too, and I just got that text. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, that was it. It used to be a bar. Now it's just a straight Coney Island there. And we were up there, and it was funny, Mike, because you know how that was at that point in time. I don't know if you were the same way. I was, how can I say this without sounding like an utter douche? I was, quote unquote, starting to get my life together. Does that make sense? I was in the business. I didn't want to be out being an idiot anymore, like we were idiots many times, and quite frankly still are. But it was, and for whatever reason, I went out that night and I was like, I haven't seen this particular group of guys in I probably haven't seen that group of guys since that night too. It was a moment in time where I've said this before, if you're a fan of a particular team, that like June 9th will always mean something to me. That's the last time the Habs won the cup. Like June 9th, 1993, boom, like that. But very rarely is a game synonymous with a date anymore in sports. You say March 26th, and you don't even have to be a diehard hockey fan. Everybody knows what March 26th is.
Yeah, it's, again, as you say, it is unbelievable when we get together, and it's not about the Stanley Cups. It's about that night that people want to talk to DMAC about. And you do say, like you said, it's great that he answers the questions and he comes out and he'll talk about it. But it's insane that it's that. I think outside of that, you can correct me. I would say like the Probert Crowder fight.
Jeez. The Domi battles, maybe, with the belt and everything. Those were kind of seminal moments. But even those moments, Mike, what were the dates?
Yeah, the only reason I could tell you the Crowder one is I've got the ticket in my thing because Don Cherry and McLean sat right in front of us and signed our tickets.
You and I were both at that game, and we didn't even know it at the time. That's the fun. We had that conversation before. Do you remember? I was with Crazy Teddy,
okay,
and you were with Joe, right?
Yep.
And we were probably a section apart, like probably because I just remember, I remember just that electricity in the building. There was an electricity in the building for that,
Yeah, and it's that electricity that it's funny. Like nowadays, you don't get it for events like that. It's like the Stanley Cup or something big like that. But back then, a Probert fight, Colorado being in the building, there was that electricity. You knew something was going to happen, and that was exactly why I knew I had to get in front of a TV that day.
And by the way, and I'm glad that you said it, and you guys, I'm not trying to be like the douche guy or anything. I've known Darren for a long time. I consider him a friend. He's been on this show many times. We've done so many things. I didn't want to bother Darren today. Part of me was, let's reach out to Darren and talk to Darren and everything. But I'm sure Darren's had to do this all day today. He has no problem telling those stories too. I mean, it's the coolest thing on earth that he's got. And it's always funny because he always adds this caveat. Okay. Legitimately, Mike, let's be honest. He should have been kicked out of the game, right?
Right.
He wasn't kicked out of the game. And what a lot of people kind of forget is he goes on and scores the gosh damn winning goal. I mean, that's I mean, how beautiful is that, right?
That's the stuff legends are made of. It's why we continue to talk about it. And I know I caught him a little bit on Woodward today. I'm sure he has been talking about it all day.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's over 1% to make the tournament maybe next year. Tom said, watch the game here in London on TSN. Go Habs, go. Oh, were they bad last night? Oh, it caught up to him last night. Our buddy Chuck, look at Chuck in there. Happy Turtle Day, gents. Tom said, funny thing is DMAC got 4 minutes in a misconduct, then scored the OT winner. There you go. That's the way it goes. Avs beat them most of the season that year. Don Cherry, a legend. Isn't it funny? Cherry's like 91, I think 91 years old now, or is he 92? I'm going to fact check myself.
Yeah, fact check that. But it is just a shame that how long's he been out now? Seems like forever.
2019, right? 2019. Wow. Yeah, he's 91. He just turned 91. It's amazing.
So we're going on 6 years of just not having, again, talk about electricity. Like you tuned into that, right? Coach's Corner.
Yep.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Those
people.
Is.
I'm going to, you people. Our milk and honey. I'm going to say this again. Mike, and this is not just Don Cherry related. I just don't enjoy the stuff they do in the intermissions anymore. I just don't. And that used to be can't miss television. It really did. And there's still pieces of it. I still like the hot stove and things like that, but I just don't like the way they do it anymore. And if I sound like the old guy, it was better when I was younger, then okay, so be it. I do not enjoy the way they do intermissions anymore. And that's sad because for guys like you and I, all right, where Saturday night other people were out doing things and we were inside watching hockey, that was is cheesy, like the soundtrack of my youth, man. And getting all the information, not just from Grapes, but in the intermissions. And I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it at all, man.
No, if there were two things I would do, if there was a Wings game, a Devils game, or someone else's game that I was watching, I tuned into the intro. The intro's always good. The first one to lead into the playoffs is can't miss, right? The intro's into it. And then in between the first and second period, no matter what was going on anywhere else, that's what you tuned into. You wanted the in between, the intermission stuff from Hockey Night in Canada. Entertainment, informative. It was spot on. I don't understand what they're doing right now.
Their videos at the beginning of the playoff and then the montage when the team wins the Stanley Cup, nobody does it better.
Chills.
And really, to this day, nobody does it better. I'm not joking, and you know this better than anybody. I would say at least once a week for almost 32 years, I have watched Back in the High Life again from when the Habs won the Stanley. I'm not joking. Once a week since June of 1993. Sometimes I watch it 2 or 3 times a week. But it was the Steve Winwood song "Back in the High Life Again" that they played when the Habs beat the Kings in Game 5 in Montreal. Not a week goes by that I don't watch that. And it's pathetic. I'll be the first guy to say it, but not a week goes by where I don't watch that.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And for anyone out there that thinks he's BSing, that's the gospel truth right there. I can guarantee that happens. And now that he's mentioned it, there's not a fact. He has to watch it as soon as we're done.
There's no doubt in my mind. It will be on. It will be. Well, as soon as we're on, I might pull it up.
I'm back in the high life again.
And the funniest thing is, so like when I was talking to Gilbert Dion last, gosh, did I sound like a douche? Oh, forgive me. So Gilbert Dion and I, no, but the funniest thing is, like, I was talking to Gilbert Dion, and all I can think about is like in that video montage. After one of the games in LA, he scored a goal and he held up the puck after the game with a big shit-eating grin on his face, as if to say, "Hi, Mom, I scored a goal in the Stanley Cup final and everything." And I'm sitting there talking to him, and all I could see is that stupid shit-eating grin on his face. You know, I mean, it's kind of funny how that works out.
By the way,
did you see who's in the chat? Our buddy Chuck from State Champs.
Is he?
I love Chuck. Chuck, you're one of my faves, and you know that.
I mean, the two Chucks, come on.
Yeah. Chris said one stinker they were due. You're absolutely right. More on that coming up in a couple minutes, because part of the Wings' problem right now is they're slowly going down the toilet is other teams' refusal to lose games. So the Habs got at least a point in games for seemingly the last 6 months to get back in this, right? You know, I mean, honestly, it's like every night. And as I was bitching to you the other night, more often than not, Mike, they find themselves 2-3 goals down, and then there's this wild comeback, and that's kind of been the DNA lately. But that's been part of the issue with the Red Wings right now. Let me try to get some of this, and we'll get to some NHL stuff in a second. Ron McLean is a traitor for not standing up for Grapes. Do you know what that was? That was a Lifetime Achievement Award for Don Cherry. Him getting fired. It really was. It wasn't what he said wasn't that bad. It just wasn't. I'm sorry. It wasn't. And people were going to take that out of context as we know. What he said was not that bad. That was really a Lifetime Achievement Award. That was just like, I don't know, Mike, when you're making that pot of chili and you know damn well you shouldn't throw in one more tomato, and you fire one more tomato in and it overflows. That's what that night was to me. That was like, okay, this is just one time too many. Because what he said, I'm sorry, to this day, it just wasn't that bad, man. I don't know what to tell you. I understood what he was saying. Anybody with half a brain in their head understood that he was telling people to wear fucking poppies, right?
Right.
Like, and it bothered him that there were people, whether they be Canadian, whether they be an immigrant, that weren't wearing poppies. That's what he was saying. Come on, you know?
And even as woke as they've become there, that wasn't that bad. However, like you said, he earned what he got over his
Lifetime Achievement Award.
time.
Yep.
And he didn't care one lick the entire time he was out there. He said what he was going to say, what he was feeling, and that's what made him great.
Yep.
What was there is what he said. It came right off his chest, and he walked away. Like you said, a lifetime achievement award with that firing.
Yep. Brian McFarland. Oh, who can forget Peter Puck? Austin, my favorite thing about watching Cherry was even though he's getting old and senile, he'd always find a shift or two from some fourth liner doing the little things. Loved it. And one of the things that I loved is how he put the emphasis on junior hockey. That was really cool. So for me, a kid that watched a lot of those games growing up and then eventually having the opportunity to call those games for many years, happy as a pig in shit. Man, Mike, some of the best times are going to the Odd in Kitchener, going to old Budweiser Gardens, going even to the newer arenas. The OHL is a special place.
All right. And the thing about that, like he said, finding that 1/4 line, his love for Canada and knowing basically every Canadian player, every nook and cranny, little guy here, little guy there, and he'd bring them up. His love for the military and the people that did it the right way was just that. Again, that's why we tuned in to see stuff like that. He's a special guy.
Yep, no doubt about it. My favorite thing when I read that one, I think one of the Red Wing problems is they don't have an identity that comes from Henry up north. Ted, yeah, I forgot OHL playoffs, lest we forget here we were just blasting the OHL. Let's go Spirit. We'll let you know if Schaefer's and Erie's line up tomorrow night here in Saginaw. That could be a dandy 1 and 2 potentially in the draft. Patrick, happy Turtle Day. Thanks again, Darren McCarty. I'm going to get to the Wings in just a second. Don Cherry just loves Canada and the military. Oh, no, not the Cherry self-immolation. I want to see Ron McLean get publicly lambasted and shit canned. Is anyone more woke than Kelly Rudy? The talk and the dress was great. CBC was looking to fire him for years. Don could not control his mouth, negates what he did as an entertainer. It was a lifetime achievement award. It was what he said that day. Okay. If you use that by itself, I'm sorry, it wasn't. You understood what he's saying. Okay. Yeah. But unfortunately, we live in a society today where people hear what they want to hear and will spin your words any way they see fit. I mean, that's the reality of it, folks. What he said that day wasn't that bad. That and everything else, it was the Lifetime Achievement Award. He earned the firing. He did. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, anybody else says it, I don't think it's as big of a deal. But when you are not liked, you can't say things that might possibly offend somebody, and that's what happened, unfortunately.
Yep. Why doesn't CBC do a weekday game? They did many years ago. When we were growing up, they would occasionally have a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night game, Mike, and it was the greatest week in the history of mankind. But unfortunately, as you well know, sometimes they would do what we referred to when we were kids as the dirty, rotten trick, because they would put it. Do you remember the dirty, rotten trick? Mm-hmm. They would put it in the TV guide. Like on a Tuesday night, it would say St. Louis at Toronto. And I would be still my heart. I didn't give a crap. I didn't care about the Blues. I didn't care about Toronto. I got to watch hockey on a Tuesday night. And then you turn on CBC at 8:00 at night, and the King of Kensington's on, and I'm firing shit at the television. I don't need the King of Kensington on my television at 8:00 at night.
Some great CBC content. It was unbelievable.
Swan, I miss Don, but he did it to himself. Agree on the Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah, that was that. That was one time too many. That one itself, sorry, it wasn't bad. Everything else, yeah, too bad. Don did that every year for Remembrance Day, but not with the oomph that he did, the milk and honey and all of that. Coronation Street, that's another one. Does anyone watch in between periods after he left? Adam, we were just talking about that. I think, and even our buddy Tom in London said, I think CBC's intermission coverage is awful. with a capital A. I do like when they do the hot stove, and anytime that you can bring Elliot in. Elliot is just a wealth of knowledge. I really respect the work that Elliot puts in. I will watch the hot stove, but the chatter in between, no, I don't enjoy it at all. I don't enjoy it at all. And that was, Mike, for guys like us, that was our somebody just texted me. Mr. Larson, if you're watching, I have some news for you in a second. That was our youth growing up. Now, speaking of Mr. Larson, you and I are going to the same place tomorrow. We're heading to Toledo.
Yep.
You are going as a fan. You love your Spartans. You can't deny. You love your Spartans.
Go green.
Go white. I love that you said that. That makes me so happy. That's so damn good. I am working. So, Mr. Larson, I was actually going to text you today. Thanks for the reminder. I forgot. Yes, I'll be down there. I'll text you at some point in time tomorrow just to say hello. But yes, I'm going to be part of the working media. Jack Ebling and I are heading down together and doing some stuff down there from the beautiful Huntington Center. Mike, you've been to Huntington.
Yep. Walleye. Yep.
Yeah, great spot. I had the opportunity to do a few walleye games there. I filled in a few times down there. It is a beautiful rink, and as many of the people in here who are fans going back to the Toledo days, to see what Toledo was like when I started working down there, Mike, and what it is now with, mud hens down there and walleye down there. Unbelievable. It's beautiful. Some of the funnest times in my professional life were the 4 years that I was down in Toledo. I'll always love Toledo for that. I'm serious when I say it. And to have a beautiful hockey arena down there like that, oh my gosh, Mike, it's fantastic. But I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, we've done a few of the kids tournaments down there. It's always a good time. Now, like you said, Toledo's kind of turned around. And I know you've been to the old barn with the Toledo Storm.
The sports aroma, yes,
that
absolutely.
Oh, was that classic? Like East Coast dripping hockey. That was unbelievable. But this way better. This is a classic place here.
Yep. Mr. Larson said he will see us there, by the way. I don't want to tell everybody who Mr. Larson is. I probably gave it away. He said, yes, I'm listening. But you're familiar with Mr. Larson's work as well. So, yeah, we're looking forward to being down there. That's a really intriguing group down there. As you know, Michigan State, of course, taking on Cornell. Anybody that knows me, I am a go green, go white guy. My daughter goes there. I was very lucky for a few years to do some television broadcasts up at Michigan State. So, yeah, I can't wait to go down there, Mike, and cover it.
It should be a good. I don't know what the plans are. I got to ride down there. I'm hoping to get down there to enjoy some of the BU Ohio State game. That Ohio State, that's made it a tough ticket. Actually, I thought tickets would be going down. Tickets are going up. But I ended up getting a real nice ticket. But hopefully we can catch the end of that game and just catch Michigan State Cornell.
This is awesome, Jim. I lived in Delta, Ohio, and I would have bought a car from Andre Rasico. Those commercials they were always the last commercial before Hockey Night in Canada started. I had a chance to meet Mr. Rasico, and it just legend, absolute legend. No doubt about that. And the funny thing is, I can still remember driving by his place on the way to my grandfather's place up in Stony Point and through Bell River. Oh my gosh, it just But I had a chance to meet Mr. Rasico. Mike, those commercials were always, when you saw Leo, it was, okay, so Don Cherry's Grapevine ended, and then you would have a lighting boutique commercial, and then you would have Leo Rasico, and then you knew the Hockey Night in Canada theme was starting. Yes. Like, it was just set your watch to it. That's the way it was each and every Saturday night.
If you can believe it, I think out of all of it, I was most intrigued by the lighting boutique. Like, really? Is that a real, like, is there just a store? Like, is that real? Like, that intrigued me my entire life. Like for some reason I've got to get there.
Yeah, yeah. The Hockey Night in Canada theme song, the soundtrack of my youth. It was the warning shot to get out of the kitchen and get in front of the television. No doubt about that. Don's comments have not aged well, considering his support for the guy who wants to usurp Canada's independence. How the heck are the Wings still only a few points out? Don't get me wrong, my hope meter is low, but it's insane. They're not talking about the lottery after this March. Enjoy your time in the Glass City. My alma mater is number one in the nation in college hockey. Who do you guys like in the NCAA this year? All right, so there's two things that go on. So while BC got the number one seed, Michigan State was the number one team. This reminds me a lot of the dynamic that you saw in state. Okay. Michigan has so much talent. Brandon Naurato has done a fantastic job of getting a lot of talent there. But Mike, Western Michigan and Michigan State just have a moxie. They have a grit. They have a determination. And this is the second year in a row. I personally, I would be terrified of Penn State in that bracket because they played so well down the stretch. I'd be terrified for Penn State. But in my opinion, and if you want to say that I'm being a slapdick, you go right ahead. I think that BC and Michigan State are on a collision course. It's just one man's opinion.
I agree with you. The only one that would stand in the way, and again, there's a couple matchups I want to see. I want to see BC, Minnesota. I want to see Michigan State, BU. I want to see Michigan State, BC in the finals. And I don't know, who are you taking? Come on. You got a goalie you got to support in there and be at BC.
Oh boy, I like that. I like my guy. I like the guy from BC. I think this team learned their lessons last year. I do.
Okay.
I think I really truly do. I think that loss to Michigan probably helped them out more than anybody can imagine. There is a grit, a determination to that team. And when you have a guy playing right now like Isaac Howard is playing, I mean, which is out of his mind, and then you have so many pieces, including a guy that you and I both love by the name of Joey Larson, a kid that we saw, ply his craft in the high school ranks. I just think there's too much depth for Michigan State. I really, truly do. Even with that star-studded lineup for BC, and it is. I mean, it is legitimately star-studded, okay? Push comes to shove, one game, elimination games. Give me the team with some sandpaper.
Okay.
Give me the team with some sandpaper.
I like it. I was leaning towards BC with that top line, bringing some World Junior magic back home and having that championship experience. Leonard Hagens and Perot with Fowler there in net. I think that was going to push them over a little bit. But I'll be pulling for Michigan State. Augustine. I want to see him get over that hump. He'd love to see him get one on his way out to Grand Rapids. But that would be a special game, I think.
Yep. And you know what? That's the reality of it. I don't care what anybody says. I think this will be Trey's last time at Michigan State, and I think it'll be Fowler's last time at BC. He'll probably be at Laval with an opportunity to make the Habs next year. And the same thing can be said for Augustine, although I think that he'll probably spend a year in the A. Just one man's opinion. We'll wait and see how that works out. I should probably mix in a read. Todd, maybe we should do that. I love this. Never been to a walleye game. You should. I'm serious. The ECHL is so much better now that you don't have the IHL and the AHL. There wasn't enough talent to filter down in the ECHL back in the day. There's a lot of talent down there. You'd be surprised. He said, but I caught many walleye in the St. Clair River. In fact, I'm frying them this weekend. Listen, Austin, they're called pickerel on the other side. All right. And let me give you a spot. I'm serious when I say this, where the Thames pours into Lake St. Clair. There is probably, I don't know, about a half mile radius around there where, dude, put the line in, you'll be yanking them out left and right. OSU, MSU would be a heck of a rematch. AJ Gus Gervais. It's manufacturing that makes the difference. That's awesome. Do you remember those commercials? That's so good. BC future half Fowler. Let me get this. Eric says hello. Let me get in a read. It might help if I mix in a read, right? And I should probably do that, Mike. It's just you and I have been going for a half hour straight. So, how about we talk about Lindsay Broadwell? When it's time to get yourself a house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets in Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Somebody said to me, did Mike really yell, go green? Yes, Mike really yelled, go green, which was awesome. I'm excited for Western and Michigan and Minnesota State. Western, one of the best offensive teams in college hockey, against one of the best defensive teams in Minnesota State. Pat has done such a great job with the Broncos. It's insane. Anybody looking past them is making a critical error. And so, Mike, hear me out when I say that. Anybody looking past, that is a really, really good team. Hockey Talk Rules, thank you very much. All right, so Mike, let me throw this out there for you. Let me throw this out there for you. You heard a couple people talk about how the Wings are still alive. They're not really alive. You know it. I know it. I think everybody knows it, and I think it's time to revisit a conversation that we had earlier this year when we were talking about effort and lack thereof. And I was actually having this conversation. I did not get his permission to use this topic and use his name in the conversation. I'm sure he'd say yes, but just in case, I'm just going to say I was talking to a former Red Wing last night, and I should have asked him. My apologies. But I'll just leave it at this. We were texting each other towards the end of the game, and he said, hey, I heard you say this a lot in the beginning of the year, but let's double check. Where are the Red Wings right now in their PK? And I said, they're dead last. And they're dead last with a bullet, Mike. Last night to me, and I don't know how much of the game you saw, last night to me was a team that wanted to win and a team that told itself that it wanted to win. And I've seen a lot of that lately. I really have, Mike. I've seen a lot of that lately. Just getting beat, Mike. There's no other way to say that. Getting beat, losing battles, watching the other team work harder. There's an issue with this team. And I don't know if they have to broom a few guys out. I don't know if this is part of the plan to bring in some new guys, but there is a sandpaper, there is a hard hat, there is a pull out every gosh damn cliche you want missing from this Detroit Red Wing team right now.
Yeah, and that's why you're 3-9 in March. That is why you could only muster 13 shots against Utah. And there's stuff, I'm sure you've heard it, leaking out all over the place about the locker room, and they're not a lot of love for management right now for what they did at the trade deadline. They felt that they should have done something. It's bleeding out on the ice. Last week we sat here and I used the word chasing it. They're chasing it again, Sean. They are continually chasing the puck, chasing the other team. They have a couple of guys going that'll come back on the back check, but it's just dripping all over it. And the leadership in the locker room, that there's some guys in there that should be correcting this. It's not getting corrected, but there's a few guys that are going to have to go.
Yep. That's I think that puts it in the right category. They're going to have a serious conversation of, And this comes back to Steve. What is the makeup of this team right now, and some of the guys that he thought that he would be moving forward? Because you have to remember, a lot of this team right now is not going to be there when this team is really, really ready to compete. Okay, so there's no doubt about that. So you have to throw this out there. But I think there are some questions about some other guys that you thought might be there. And that's the type of stuff that I look at. But and it's interesting. Chris said hard to revive after totally quitting on the previous coach, but they did, and they found themselves back in it, and then they allowed themselves to fall right back out of it, and have teams like the Islanders and the Rangers, who have been a freaking soap opera all year, and the Habs, who are probably a year and a half ahead of schedule, in all honesty. Okay, you've got a Red Wings team that's probably a year and a half behind, and Mike, I don't think I'm being a slapdick when I say the Habs are probably a year and a half ahead, and you allowed those teams to pass you, and to me, that's what's frustrating about that.
And Chris makes a great point of talking about quitting on a previous coach. When I hear that, Sean, I hear about the character of somebody. And when that comes out, when the going gets tough, you don't just quit on a coach. You quit on a season. You quit on your teammates. That's just who you are. Some guys need the perfect situation, the perfect stuff every time just to perform, and they can't go through any adversity or they quit. And when I hear a comment about someone quitting on a coach, it's going to come up again, and your true self is going to show in times like this.
It's funny because a lot of the things that we're talking about, and I think you guys, Mike, you've hit on it, I've hit on it. Daddy Larson said, "Wings don't play above the puck. Simple. Battles are brutal." The fourth goal last night, McKinnon's goal, is what caused a former Red Wing, and again, I didn't get permission. I should have asked him to actually say to me, "Do you want to know how I would sum up the Red Wing season? It's what happened on that goal." And I was like, yeah. Like Mike, honestly, a guy that wanted it more. He just wanted it more. I mean, that's the thing. As Adam said, and don't say you weren't warned, Mike and I were talking about this, and quite frankly, nobody else in town was talking about this. I was bringing it up on Woodward as well, and some guys were laughing at me. The schedule killed them. So many cup contenders to deal with. They put themselves in a bad position when they let it slip away earlier in the year. Adam, Mike, and I talked about that before Four Nations. You can go back and check the tape. When your remaining schedule is playing teams with just under a 600 clip, my gosh, listen, point blank, it's going to be difficult for you to get in.
You can't catch up like that. I mean, even with like a night like last night where basically everybody lost to help you out there, there's just not enough nights like that. And the way they're playing, I mean, after the first period last night, I thought it was going to be another 14-shot performance. Like, I'm like, this is just going nowhere. I barely made it into the third period. I just can't. I can't give myself to watching a full game like that. But you can't come from behind when it's like that. And so when people are looking and we're, let's see, 72, we're only 3 points behind. The Habs have one game at hand, right? But that's a lot with our schedule. I mean, just go through the difference of the schedules in Montreal's and ours.
And especially with the Islanders, both New York teams and Columbus ahead of you. I mean, you not only do you have to keep that eye on the Habs, but you have to, leapfrog all those teams as well. And that's the crazy thing about it. Let me get in another read. We are so behind. Holy crap. This is what happens, I think, when you start talking hockey. Either way, our viewing parties are going to be back. Like when the playoffs start, count on it. We'll probably do them every Saturday. Mike, we'll try to do the whole thing during Stanley Cup again, where if we can get together, we'll do one every game during the Stanley Cup. I know you won't complain. We'll have Sausage Fest. We'll have Rib Fest. We'll have,
Shotgun Shell Fest.
Shells. with extra duck fat. Hey, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters love duck fat, but they should love Legacy Partners more? Because Legacy Partners will help you with your home and auto insurance. Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right question to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and yes, help save you some money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Give them a call today. They will do for you what they did for me and my family. 586-209-4106. That's 586-209-4106. Or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Mike, I know you and I touched on this briefly. Of course, we are involved in calling a lot of the high school games for the State Champs Network and everything. We're working on a pretty cool road trip next year. How's that? How's that? Is that good? Is that good for a teaser?
I like that teaser. I like that teaser. Yeah. Real good. And road trip, not a trip, a road trip, a good long one.
Well, we're planning to see some spots in the UP. As soon as I have official confirmation, we'll get that out there. So we're really looking forward to that. Looking forward to going to Toledo tomorrow. As a matter of fact, my buddy Jack Ebling just called me. So he's going to be coming over here. Yep, Henry, UP. We'll be heading back to the UP. We were there, Mike, when? Early 23? Was that early 23 or early 22? The years all run together now.
I'd say it's been 2 years because we've done Traverse City the last 2 years.
Yeah, we did.
It was the year before that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Gosh, yeah. So 24 and 25, we were in Traverse City. So we did the Marquette Calumet trip in January 23. Yeah. So it's time to, no, Eric, I did not text Shelley. So I'm sure he probably wouldn't remember, to be honest with you, but I for what it's worth. Mike, does Ovi do it before the year ends?
Yeah, I was just looking at it. He's got a tough schedule. It's not the easiest of schedules. However, unless they rest him, those tough games bring out the best in him, I believe. So if he plays every game, I'm going yes. But with that leg, I mean, the guy broke his leg, Sean. With that gut, he broke a leg, and this guy's 6 goals out.
And his girth, putting all that pressure on the leg, is insane, right? Todd, put it up. Put the picture up. I love Fat Ovi. I love that is a human being. To quote the kids of today, that is a man who is living his best life. Look at that guy.
Oh, my God.
Somewhere in that picture is a cooler just full of ice cold beer.
And hot dogs.
And hot
dogs. The Russian love for hot dogs, Sean.
The tank. Krutov. You know that's a real story too, okay? That is not a make-believe story. I legitimately talked to multiple Red Wings who told me that man had a hot dog addiction, and they had to have somebody on the team spy him because he would go to the airport and he'd go, Krutov must go to bathroom. And he would take off to the hot dog vendor. And so his mind would go, get away from the hot dog vendor. Krutov love hot dog. Right?
Krutov smash hot dog.
It's my favorite. Gosh, I love that story so much. I love that. And Mike, you and I totally agree because we've said this forever in our grilling days. Hot dogs are just underrated, man. We're all trying to think of the next best thing. This is the best sausage, and I'm going to do some beef short ribs, and I got some shotgun shells. Man, give me a black hot dog, and I'm happy as a pig in shit.
Oh, I can't put a little mustard on that baby.
Damn good. Henry said, I'm so far west that the closest college hockey team to me is Minnesota Duluth. No kidding. Where are you at? Yeah, Henry, let me know where you're at. That's funny. Look at one of Toledo's finest, Flea. I hope Ovi can break the record soon so the Capitals can focus on winning a playoff series. Flea, I don't know how the Caps have done this all year. I'm not being funny. I'm not. That has been a storyline for Mike and I since the beginning of the year. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense, especially with the goaltending that they have. It just doesn't make sense. I hate to say it. I really, really feel that this is a Brian Murray type Capital era thing. And I know you don't want to hear that, Flea, but I don't think that they have. I just don't think that they have a long playoff run in them, Mike. I'm sorry.
I hope you're wrong. I have a ticket that says I hope you're wrong, but I agree with you.
Bessemer. Wow.
Michigan. So Minnesota Duluth.
That's like right on the border, right? Isn't that, Henry, correct me if I'm wrong? That's like right on the border of Minnesota, isn't it? I've never heard of the lake. I'm not.
But you've got ex-Wayne State Gus Taylor out in that area playing football now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up at Duluth, right?
He's at, I don't know if it's Duluth or a school out there in Duluth. Is Duluth in what division?
Division II.
Division. Yeah, I think that might be where he's at. I didn't know if it was an offshoot of it, but I know he's out in that area. Yep.
Yeah, we when I do Toledo football, when we went to the D2 championship, that was one of the road games we won at Duluth. It was awesome. Caps and Jets will make an early exit. Adam, I'm not going to argue with either one of those one. I'm just not. And it's so disrespectful to say that of teams that have had fantastic seasons, but if I had to pick one, though, all right, Mike, let me try it that way.
Okay.
Which one of those teams would you expect to get to at least the conference finals more, the Jets or the Caps?
Caps.
Would you really?
Yes.
I would take the Jets. I really would. I would take the Jets. I think that tells our confidence in both of them, to be honest with you. I just don't have a lot of confidence in both of them.
The Jets, if the Jets were more middle of the packish, a little bit, this just screams like that Boston, Detroit, all these teams that run away with 5,000 points and they just fall flat in the playoffs. Hellebuck hasn't shown me anything. My love for was it Logan Thompson, the Caps goalie. I think they've got the experience still there. Do I think what the Caps are doing is sustainable? No, but I don't think the Jets are either.
Yeah. No, I get that.
If it comes down to how you're going to play the game, the only reason the Caps are in the place there is because they're playing the game right.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two fellows right there, the Hanson brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, or already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one, so if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends. I'm also a client at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Mike, isn't it funny? I was bringing this up the other night. When we were younger, growing up, like the last few weeks of the NHL season was next to useless. Really, other than that mad dash that the Devils made like in 88, and that I know you had a front row seat for. Other than it was just kind of, man, I love the last few weeks of the regular season now. And conversely, something else that is flipped is the first round of the playoff was almost a yawn fest, right? The first round of the playoff, I have no problem saying this is the best round of the playoff almost every year. I'm serious. It's phenomenal. Last year, notwithstanding, you and I both kind of had an issue with last year that it was kind of living on its reputation of years gone by. But more often than not, I think the home stretch, down the stretch they go, and the first round of the playoff are unbelievable.
I think more teams are learning you can't turn it off and turn it back on. That you've got to go. There's enough teams still vying for a position that it stays alive. Guys playing for contracts. The last couple of weeks of the season's last few years has been outstanding. And of course I can't find it, but I had pulled up a thing that had if the season ended today, this is what the matchups would be, and full wood already. I mean, I was ready. The only thing I was very disappointed is that, again, my Kings are faced up against the Oilers in the first round. They're going to take too many penalties. They're going to lose on the Oilers power play just like they did last year.
I would laugh my ass off, Mike, truth be told, if the Capitals and the Habs met in the first round again. I would laugh my ass off because that's one of those, how the bleep was that 15 years ago when the Habs pulled that upset with Halak in the first round in 2010. I still can't. That was just insane. And then there's no way they'll beat Pittsburgh. There's no way they'll beat the defending Stanley Cup champion. And if you know this, but for people out there, I had a trip to Ireland planned because there was no way in hell the Habs were going to be in the conference finals, right? And they ended up in the conference finals, and I had to watch 2 games while I was in Ireland at a bar that the Canadian Embassy in Dublin kept open later than it should have been because the games came on at like 2:00 in the morning. And so what I did, the first thing I did when I went there is I went to the Canadian Embassy and I said, is there a place in town where we can watch the game? And there was this little bar right around the corner from where the embassy was that they stayed open so people could watch the Hockey Night in Canada games. And I got to see the Habs lose to the Flyers there. The first round is the round the Leafs losing, and you can watch their fans have meltdowns. It's always a fun couple days. It's one of my favorite traditions every spring. It really, it's wonderful. And God forbid they actually win a playoff series like they did a couple years ago. A singular playoff series. It is, I love it, Mike. It's some of the funniest stuff out there. Henry added, all I know is my summer officially starts when the Leafs get pounced in the first round again. Well, it's usually an early summer, fellas. That no other way to say that. It's usually an early summer. Mike, is there someone we're overlooking before we get out of here?
No, I think we got it all. I think the most important one is what we're going to go watch tomorrow. I mean, if people haven't caught on to that, just like we talk about the World Juniors and stuff like that, the NCAA hockey playoffs, it's amazing. There's always a 4 that's going to beat a 1. It's going to happen every year. And then you just get those classic matchups. It's not going to happen in Toledo, though.
It's not going to happen in Toledo.
It is not going to happen in Toledo. No. Cornell's not doing that. No, Sebi already said that he'd be throwing things if it happened.
Yeah.
He's got a little green.
Is Sebi going too?
He is not going with me,
Okay.
but he is a State fan.
I knew I liked that kid. So let me get this straight. Sebi's a fan and a State fan?
Unbelievable.
All right. Look at our finest. Let's go Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, you know what?
One of these years it's going to happen, right? It has to happen. One of these years, right?
Yes, Maple Leaf, yes.
Todd, what do you have for us? When Todd has pictures he has to put up.
This Mel's Cuts in Bessemer, Michigan. Next time you're in town, stop by and see Mel, and he'll get you taken care of.
He'll give you his best cuts.
Eric said, oh, good, a Smarty. Well, there are some teams still playing hockey. Eric?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to be playing hockey? Eric? I would rather be playing hockey.
I think the answer is yes.
Hey, All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Henry, have you been to that place, Mel's Cut, by the way? Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people, All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Don't sweat your next big event. Let Rick and the great staff at allaboutcateringllc.com take care of you today. To check out their menus and all their 5-star reviews, give them a call, 586-731-1398. That's 586-731-1398 to get your event started. How great is that? Henry said, it's right across the street from the high school. I walked there after school to get a cut. Tell them that we gave him a shout out, okay, Henry? Mike, maybe when we take our UP tour in January, maybe we can pop over there. It's a hop, skip, and a jump from the Houghton Calumet area, right? But
I'm in.
We're going all the way across the UP, so why not?
So, Sean, I just pulled it up right here. First round possible matchups as of today.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota and Vegas, I'll take it. Kings and Oilers, I'll take it. Blues, Jets, get out of here. Avalanche, Stars. You're not watching that? I mean, come on. Ottawa, Toronto. Come on.
Love it.
Florida, Tampa Bay.
Love every
Beauty.
Love every second.
Habs, Caps, we won't go there. It'll be misery for you. Devils, Carolina, get out of here. I could care less. Devils could get payback from, I'm not going to remember the year when Cam Ward stoned them and beat them. But anyways, that can get out of there. But 5 of those matchups are very, very, very nice.
Didn't he beat the Habs and the Devils, I think, in that particular playoff? The 06 playoff?
Miserable.
He beat the Habs and the Devils. Win a natty in any sport, then talk. You mean without cheating? Was that?
And we're off.
You just walk right into that, baby. Most recent hockey championship, most recent basketball championship. I'm playing. Sometimes, here's the thing. Sometimes you just have to shut up. Like with football, you have to shut up. You do. Michigan's got bragging rights, but when you're not in the tournament, maybe sit this one out. How's that? Mike, wouldn't you agree? Maybe sit this one out. Oh, look at this. Henry said, can we get a shout out to our family business? Let me know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Steiger? Is it Steiger? Hey, Sean Baligian here for Steiger's Ace Hardware. Whenever I'm in the area, I make sure I stop into Steiger's. Why? Because family makes all the difference in the world. Yes, it's family owned and operated, which means when you're in there, you're one of the family, and they treat you like family. So take it from me and my pal, Mike Iavasile. Whenever we need some stuff to work on our smokers, we stop by Steiger's Ace Hardware.
Best lump charcoal you can find.
All right. See you guys, Mike. I'll see you down in Toledo. Mike, one more time. Go green.
Go white.
Attaboy. Todd chanting as well. He loves it as well. Todd's all about it. Hunter, yes, we'll get the family discount when we're up there. All right, we'll go grab a bunch of stuff. You guys take care. We'll see you. Bye.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.